to DACA. We'll find all your cousins. I'll tell them you love them, and I'll do what's right. We'll stand at the embassy. We're protesting everything, and I'll take your picture and you'll sing my song. It goes, I don't want you anymore. I wish that you were here, and I don't want you anymore.
Thank you.
I wish that you were here.
Hi, and welcome to This CanAsian Life. My name is Sue Gobberdan.
And I'm Gabby McIver.
And we're here on Treaty 6 territory, Amisquichy Waskahigan, or otherwise known as Edmonton. And it is the Métis homeland, and we're really excited to be here discussing CanAsian artistic identities.
You folks may have noticed that we are missing Rekha, and that's because we decided to fire her off to the Philippines because she's enjoying a wonderful, much-earned vacation. So if you have watched season 1, you might remember wonderful Sue, who was an interviewee and now is a host of the show. With that being said, we want to introduce our amazing guest today, Jordon.
Jordon!
Hi, Jordon. How's it going?
Hello. Good. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited. I really enjoyed season 1.
Oh.
So it's an honor, privilege to be here for season 2.
Are you a big fan?
Huge fan.
Oh, wait, you gotta simmer him down,
Okay,
because
yeah,
it's
that's
gonna get
It's actually surreal seeing you in
Oh,
person, Gabby.
okay, stop. Now I don't know what to say. Compliments, I don't know what to do with that. We've got quite a show for you then.
Yeah.
Really exciting. Before we kind of get started, we wanted to ask you a little bit about yourself. So tell us, what does Jordon do?
Yeah, so my name is Jordon Hon. I've been trying to transition to calling myself a lens-based artist these days because saying photographer, videographer, and some other stuff that I do is just too long. So I guess what that means is I use a camera. I use cameras to tell stories, document communities, document my own life, and share work that way.
Nice.
That's so cool.
That's actually sick. You have a couple here. Can I ask you about them?
Yeah.
Tell me about this guy, because this guy has a cool red button that I'm trying very hard not to push, but you know, it's
You definitely pushed it when you were on.
100
That's
times.
okay.
That's right.
That's okay. So I brought a couple different cameras in. That one with the cool red button is my Pentax film SLR. So that's the camera I bring around when I still want a lot of control over my photos because you can control the settings manually, but I want that kind of analog experience. So for me, shooting analog means it's cliche to say, but it means slowing down and being intentional with what you're actually photographing because you only have a certain amount of photos, and film is very expensive to shoot, especially these days. The prices have just skyrocketed for both film and developing. So whenever I do shoot it, it is really special. So I usually only take it on maybe when I'm seeing my family or on vacation.
So this is if you have this out, this is like your special.
Kind of,
Oh,
yeah.
that's sick, that's sick. Okay,
Yeah,
I see you.
exactly.
And then this guy over here.
This one is the one that if anyone sees me walking around on the street or I'm hanging out, they probably see me with this one. It's a Fuji digital camera. It's called the X100F. All of a sudden got really popular this year, so the prices have also gone up for this. But I carry it everywhere. I've had it for the last couple of years, and I make probably 90% of my pictures with it.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
That's sick. I wanted to address these because we heard you like snacks.
Yes!
And
Yes.
before I shoved these away and was like, we have them right here actually.
Ooh.
I know, what's in the bag?
That's right. What's in the bag? First off, we have
Yes.
Hey, that's for you.
Oh
that
my
is
gosh. that's
And then
so
we also
nice.
heard that you like.
Chrysanthemum tea. Yes,
Boom.
I do. Thank you.
Now with 30% less sugar.
Perfect. It's my favorite one.
Boom. So
Aw.
we're just gonna enjoy that.
Thanks.
But
Should
while
I
we
open
do
Yeah,
these for us
get
to
it.
share? Okay, cool. It's probably gonna be real crinkly, but
Oh, yeah.
I think I might need scissors.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe. Yeah,
Okay.
unless it's pre-cut.
I don't think so.
Scissors.
We're gonna have the set
Thank you.
scissors come on
Yes.
here.
Yeah, but let's get into this.
Yeah.
What makes these your favorite? Like,
Yeah.
what do you love about these?
So I've had a lot of Asian snacks growing up. I'll start with this tea. So this was the tea that this exact company actually in this box. It's been around for a while, at least since I was a kid. And you know, my parents kind of discouraged me from drinking pop, a lot of sugary drinks. And this was kind of my chance to get something a little bit sweet, but also something to make my parents happy.
Nice.
Because it is like a traditional tea. I think they do add sugar in this one, thank you. So it's still fun to drink, but
really
it's
good.
nice and calm, and
It
it's not too
is.
crazy. And yeah, this one has less sugar even, so.
Reminds me of like a summer afternoon.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
floral.
Yeah, chrysanthemum's a flower, so you really get that.
I honestly
Favorite.
thought it was like a crystal for some reason, because it sounds so like cool, but
Chrysanthemum, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay.
All right,
Yeah.
now tell me about this cuttlefish snack. I have been
Sure.
so curious.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't know that it's actually, oh, thank you. I didn't know that this was a Korean brand and snack until my partner, who is Korean, told me that.
Thank
'Cause I was just saying it was like one of my favorites. Yeah, it's cuttlefish. It's a. I think there's dried forms that people snack on. I don't know if anyone eats cuttlefish fresh. I'm sure people do. But it has a nice like seafood taste. But the main thing is I love the texture. It has that kind of puffy, crunchy, but not too crunchy kind of flavor texture that kind of melts in your mouth. And yeah, I really like it.
That is so good.
Yeah,
That's actually delicious.
it's nice, right?
It has just like that hint of like fish, but not enough to be like,
Yeah,
fishy. Like
yeah,
it's just like it just
exactly.
goes away as soon as you taste it, which is great. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I actually like this a lot.
Yeah.
It's a good combo too.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a good, like, nice, like, I don't know.
After school snack? Is
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
That's,
This is the biggest bag I've seen though. Normally
we
the-
wanted to really impress you on
Thank
the
you.
show,
Exactly.
so we're like, we're going for the top. This,
Oh,
the
yeah.
budget doesn't exist for him.
I
That's,
appreciate it.
that's how it goes. I'm gonna just get this, unless you guys want some more, just because
I'm good for now.
I'm sure sound is going to
Yeah.
throw a shoe at me or something. I don't know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, tell us more about your arts practice. Tell us about, you know, your experience working, you know, with as a lens-based artist, and about like your projects that you've been working on. What's inspiring you?
Sure. Yeah, so I feel like I'm just starting to enter the art scene actually. So I feel really honored to be here because although I've been taking photos for most of my life, I haven't really shown work publicly or collaborated with other local artists or really felt like it was my space to even belong in or enter for a long time, up until maybe just only the last year. So, but just to bring it back, yeah, I grew up in the era when YouTube and YouTubers were starting to become a thing. So like, you know, I was on the internet in like 2005, I think is when YouTube started.
The
and
golden era.
It was really,
like
it was
like
really a
giraffe
nice
or
time.
something,
Wild
and it
West,
was
yeah.
that, like the first YouTube video ever.
Yeah.
Back
yeah.
when you had video comments. Bring it back. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really nostalgic time to think back on, right? Like, and the concept of a YouTuber was so new, and everyone was just, you know, filming their lives, making vlogs or making like comedy things or music videos. And so I grew up at that time. I was like in junior high school around that time, and I made my own videos. I had a little vlog camera that I brought around. I was the kid in class that always had it on, and I was making videos, and everyone would watch them together because like, oh my God, I'm famous, I'm on YouTube, right? Like, even though it had like 100 views or something. But so that's when I first started to use a camera, I guess intentionally. I was taking pictures before that, just like with my family and stuff, and started to actually realize, oh, I can create things and I can put it out in the world and people are watching it or people are interacting with it. It's fun, right? But when I got into university, I studied mechanical engineering actually, so it took up a lot of my time. And I didn't have a lot of time to plan out videos anymore, like to get friends together and storyboard or like make short films or whatever. So I gravitated towards taking pictures because like, oh, this is a lot faster, right? If I saw something cool or I had an idea, I could just go take that picture, post it somewhere, and then it's done, right? Cool, I made something. So I started to lean towards photography more. And then I was just bragging to my friends about this other day, but I was like one of the first Instagram users too. And I was just using that at the time to get the filters, like those filters that are still there
Yeah.
now for some reason. I don't know who uses them, but they're still there. And I was just taking pictures with my iPod Touch at that time and just having fun with it. And then, yeah, just kind of snowballed into what I do now.
That's so exciting.
That's sick. I don't know why, but because you said early YouTube,
Yeah.
kind of bring it back to who are your faves watching?
I was just gonna ask
And
you.
why
Oh
was
my
it like
gosh.
Higa Higa? And 'cause I feel like everyone knows, like,
Yeah.
that guy's just so famous.
Mhm.
He was the top. What, am I wrong here? Somebody like give me a thumbs down. But was he not like the top creator?
That's a
so.
thumbs up. There
Okay,
was
that's
a thumbs
it.
up.
Yeah, I thought it was a middle finger. No, but yeah. Who
Yeah.
were your faves?
Yeah, I mean, I had a bunch of favorites. I think I had a whole roster of people. And it was so interesting because when you think about like Asian representation and stuff these days, it's like very trendy and it's bubbling up and it's great. But I think it really started during that time in terms of like, I guess like North America and Western world, seeing Asians on screens and in entertainment. Like there are a lot of communities representing in certain YouTubers. I was also really into music as a kid. So I mean, some names that come to mind, a lot of Filipino artists, AJ Raphael,
Oh, nice.
Gabe Bondoc, they were both musicians on YouTube. Wong Fu Productions, they're still doing great things, and they were doing things back then too, especially for our community. And who else? Who else did I watch? I watched the daily vlogs from the Shea Tards family before things got very controversial with them. But yeah, I also watched them a lot, like kind of religiously.
I feel like there's like so many, like, it's so unfortunate, like so many of the big name YouTubers, as they proceed into this era, began to slowly get canceled because of controversies that came out. Like, I'm trying to think, like when you said Wong Fu, not that they did here, but like Kev Jumba was one. I was like, whatever happened to Kev Jumba?
I don't think he got canceled, but
I'm like,
I think he disappeared.
just,
Maybe, I think. Because these people are just regular people. They didn't have PR or training.
No,
and then all of a sudden they became
and-
like celebrities, right?
And it was like insane to folks to know that, like, oh, they had like 1 million plus following, and they're like, I'm done with this, and they just leave. I'm like, how? Now this is like the most sought after thing, to have like 1 million plus like subs and like all this stuff. Like, it's crazy.
It must be so strange for them to have that life and then see how big it's gone and be like part of the foundation of that is an interesting place to be in.
Yeah, it's nuts. Did you ever, before going into kind of engineering, have a moment where you're like, I'm gonna become a YouTuber?
So in high school, I had different phases in my life, as we all do, right? I think my high school years, those 3 years, I was really focused on sports, actually.
Okay.
So I was really heavily involved in the badminton community. I still am these days. I'm gonna go play tonight. So I was in high
wrap it up,
school.
let's
Yeah, no.
We are on.
So I was like, I was just like addicted to the sport. I played all the time. I trained at a club, but I played tournaments. Still took pictures and made videos at that time, but I think that was like my focus at the time. So when I think back and like why I went to engineering, I think about it all the time because I don't do engineering now, and it was a long 5 years to complete that degree. I don't know where my head was at. I think I was just so distracted by my hobbies when I was picking what I wanted to study. And I don't even blame my parents. I don't even blame anyone. I think I was just like following maybe some sort of path that was laid out, and I was like, sure, I'll do this, and had no idea.
It takes a lot to like find yourself and like figure out what your thing is going to be. Currently, you've been working on a really cool project that I would love for you to tell us more about. A Portrait of Chinatown.
Yeah.
Please tell us more about what that is and where we can see
Yeah,
it.
sure. So A Portrait of Chinatown is a 6-part docu-series that I created about. I took a personal approach of discovering Edmonton's Chinatown. So it really started back in October of 2021 when I saw that there was this group called Chinatown Greetings who are basically organizing art events or pop-ups or things in Chinatown related to art. And that was, for me, I grew up here, I'm Hong Kong Chinese. I didn't feel super close with like the Asian community growing up. And so seeing that, this bridge between Chinatown and arts, I had never seen that before, and I was really excited. So I reached out to them and we got talking and bouncing ideas off. And at the same time, I was working on this kind of cultural root, seeking journey project with my photography. And so it was kind of blending together. And I was like, wait, Chinatown's a really interesting place for me to explore because there's obviously roots to my culture. And I found out later on that my great uncle actually had like a store in Chinatown back in the 70s,
wow.
and like all of my family worked there, and they sold barbecue meats and had a bean sprout factory. It was really cool.
Gosh.
And so I was going down this path of discovering, and then this grant came up for video funding, and I applied and I got it. So I was like, okay, what do I want to do with this opportunity? And I just decided to create like a docu-series to talk to folks and explore and kind of take a very authentic, transparent look at the process of how one goes about discovering a community and what's going on. And since then, Chinatown has been in the spotlight for a lot of different things and a lot of attention, and I've just been kind of I've fallen into all of that, and willingly, of course, but there's a lot going on, and I owe it all to that project that introduced me to a lot of people.
That's so exciting, and I think like focusing on Chinatown like right now and in this moment in history is so important. It's because we're in this like growing city center that's kind of expanding and kind of creeping more towards the center where Chinatown actually is. So exploring that culture and making sure that we have like record of how vibrant and like important it is to.
It's true.
It's a really cool thing.
It also gives me kind of like I just remember because my brother and I would go and we did like martial arts after school, and so we're always kind of in kind of like where like the brick area is of Chinatown there. But I remember that we would always go and hang out in like when they take us for food in like Miramar, which they've kind of like shut down since then. And it's like very bizarre in that like I feel like when we were younger, Chinatown just felt like much larger, and now as we're like growing up, it feels like it's kind of shrinking. Have you found the same thing? Like it's like kind of slowly closing off, and all of the kind of like places and spots that were like super kind of famous or like hotspots have been slowly disappearing?
Maybe yes and no. Like my experience with Chinatown when I was a kid was to come here for either haircuts. I got my haircut a couple blocks from here. Or no, it's like across the street, Roman and Purple, for like over 10 years. So I was always like being dropped off here, taking the bus here, getting my haircut. And then obviously food too. So we'd grab dim sum or get some groceries from Lucky 97. Those are my experiences. And in terms of like your question, Gabby, of like disappearance of things, I think naturally that happens and everyone has their own reasons, and of course, some factors are out of like owners' controls and some are. But Chinatown, when you made the comment about it seeming bigger as a kid, that's true. And now as I discovered Chinatown, I'm like, oh, it's like this radius, right? And there's this stuff in it. But I think that also gives you a very like contained look at the community. And I think I've pretty much spoken or met like 90% of the people that are doing activity in Chinatown, whether it's like programming or organizing or volunteering. And that's really cool, and I hope that continues growing. Like I really want to meet more folks, but there's a lot of amazing things going on, and I think maybe it does seem smaller in some ways because it's almost like hidden. Like it's not really in your face. Like Lunar New Year just passed and there were a bunch of celebrations and those are more in your face, right? But for the other months of the year, a lot of activity happens kind of behind the scenes, behind closed doors, and being able to like experience that and photograph some of it and speak to some people has been really, really cool.
That's so cool. What's getting you excited? Like you mentioned that there's like a lot going on that people don't really know, but there's what's something that's getting you really excited?
So right now I think there's just a really unique opportunity because a lot of funding and attention has been put into Chinatown over the last year, unfortunately due to really tragic events last May. But because there is this attention now, I think more folks are coming to the table, either physically or speaking up, online or in meetings about what Chinatown means to them. And I think that's really exciting because my documentary was really figuring out what does Chinatown mean to me, and then it grew more when I started to amplify what other people were doing, right? But the whole thread of the docu-series was like, what does Chinatown mean to Jordon and what is he discovering, right? So that was kind of like the hook. And so since it gave me so much, I'm excited about other folks being able to come in and either, bring up memories from their childhood and their families, or discovering things that they are excited now, whether it's in the art world or it's in the food industry, or if it's in the performance space. You know, there's a lot of things. And we just had a big Lunar New Year banquet across the street last Friday, and like almost 500 people came out. And we didn't even do much marketing. It was just like word of mouth. But I think it just speaks to this like hunger for like the community to gather in Chinatown and to enjoy each other and like just be here, right? Yeah.
That's so exciting. That's so exciting.
Yeah, like I have to agree. I think like anytime we would come out to see like Lunar New Year celebrations, it was like, wow, this is amazing. And then it's like, I'm with you in that, like, you're right, it feels like a lot of other stuff happened like kind of behind the scenes, and that one was like the only like real kind of in your face event. But it was like super epic because like you could follow like a troop of lions all the way up and down and around Chinatown, and it was like, yeah, this is awesome. They'd go into stores and everything, and like I got to learn about like how they like kind of tear lettuce, and then sometimes if it's not lettuce, it's oranges, there's a certain way to do it, and I was like, what? And I was also like impressed by so many things, but also no one ever tells you to bring earplugs, and highly recommend, because wow, those things are loud.
Drums,
like so it was super sick. I do have to ask, did you bring any awesome pictures that we can possibly see or sneak for the audience?
Yeah, I did actually.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it.
So
is it?
Yeah, they're here. They're here.
I was like, is it me?
Yeah, I can speak to these a little bit.
Nice.
So I have a couple samples. So just to give a little context to these photos, the project that I mentioned that kind of kick-started my entrance into Chinatown. Now that the docuseries is over, I have a bit more time to really give this the attention that I really want, and to work on it this year. And so the photo book is really kind of a part gratitude journal, and also a kind of wrestling with what my culture means to me. So it's photographs made here in my home city, in my partner's family's home. This is the backyard space, and that's my mother-in-law, it's my partner on the swing there. It's a place that I found a lot of peace and acceptance, and also a look into how my partner's family, who's from South Korea, have really held on to their roots and are still continuing their practices, whether it's through food or music or movies or lifestyle or home decor. Like, it's just really interesting to me because I grew up in a quite like Canadian household because my parents immigrated here quite young, and so to be able to experience this was really interesting. And this photo, for example, was made in Richmond in BC, where my parents moved to recently, and where my maternal side of my family have been for the last like 20-30 years. So I've always visited, and just yeah, like this project is really me paying attention to symbols or places and making meaning of like what my culture means to me now. And this photo is interesting as well. You know, this was shot on Canada Day last summer, July 1st, and it's kind of hard to see, but my family's in the foreground, like playing mahjong. Oh yes. And there's the Canada flags on the window, and I think this also speaks to me wrestling with, you know, what does it mean to be a Chinese settler on Indigenous land, and how, you know, our communities can to foster better relationships and harmony, and how we can, you know, educate ourselves and move forward with decolonizing our spaces and having those difficult conversations with family too. I think this picture kind of encompasses that and the feelings I had when making it. And yeah.
I have to say, I do like the pictures. I don't know if the audience can see or not, but they have like a certain, for the light, it just feels a hair softer, especially if you go to the one with your partner in it. That rail has like a dreamy, like it's so soft, like it feels like I'm looking into the past, like wait, but even though but I like that how the colors pop so nicely, and then like it has a like kind of dreamy haze, which is so like soothing.
Oh, that's really
very calming.
I think you two are actually the first people to see like any photos in the book right
now.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah.
There it is. Boom, boom.
So to get that immediate feedback is really cool.
Yes, I am critiquing this. It's great. I love it.
Definitely. That's awesome.
Well, and I love that what you had said before about like being a lens-based artist, and like because of like the resources that go into being a lens-based artist, you have to be intentional about the way that you shoot. So I think that this is a really cool tribute to like what's created this human. I think that is so cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question here that's going to be a little controversial
A
because
little.
that's me.
Yeah.
But I understand that like you went to school for mechanical engineering for years, and then you kind of decided to shift towards becoming a lens-based artist. Did you at any point have that like, what am I doing thought in your head, or was it very much like, look, I don't enjoy this, I thought I would, and I enjoy this a lot more, I'm just gonna take the leap and make it happen? Or is it still kind of like in the back of your head, like, I know I'm good at what I do, but am I this? And you know, that like whole trying to transition from, because I know like a lot of folks so many times like they don't immediately go into the arts, but they slowly kind of shift towards it. So what was that journey like for you?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I think as I'm you know, sinking my feet deeper into the arts industry and really, you know, being proud of what I do and really loving it, I think I'm seeing other folks too with that struggle, and it's been really nice. Like, I think that's such a great topic and conversation that I have with other folks, especially artists of color who you know, didn't have that support in their household perhaps, or didn't have that self-belief because they didn't have role models or didn't see people, you know, representation, right? So yeah, I think when I was studying engineering, I went to the U of A. It was about 5 years to complete that. I think in the back of my mind, I knew that I wasn't going to be an engineer, at least for long. Like I was always thinking, okay, maybe I'll try it for a couple of years, because you know, don't knock it till you try it. Maybe the textbooks is different from being in the field, right? Like maybe it won't be the same, because I really didn't enjoy a lot of the technical process of the learning. But at the same time, I was continuing to build like freelance work and getting clients and shooting, you know, weddings and food and all sorts of stuff with photography and figuring that stuff out. You know, I think half the time in class I was sending emails to like clients or other creators to collaborate. And so I always had those two, right? And I think when I was close to graduating, I did have to sit down and like, you know, ask myself seriously, okay, what does the next couple months look like? What does the next year look like, right? And as I mentioned, I didn't want to throw engineering out the window. You know, I put a lot of work into it, and so I did apply for jobs that summer that I graduated. I did go to some interviews and try to do that, right? But nothing was really catching. You know, I wasn't really getting any offers, and I was kind of taking it as a sign that either it wasn't the right fit, or maybe my heart wasn't in it to even try it. And at the same time, some opportunities came up to work as a photographer at the university. It's kind of funny. So I ended up getting that job in the marketing department, and I became their full-time photo video person for the next like 3.5 years. And so it kind of just worked out where I did have to have some difficult conversations with family, especially my dad, who just, you know, they just want the best for their kids, right? All of our parents do. And that worry that I wasn't going to be able to, you know, make money and have stability and therefore happiness, right? Because a lot of times stability leads to that. That was a concern, and so had to have that conversation. And but ultimately, you know, they've supported me throughout it all, and now, you know, I'm doing things on my own, and I just love photography so much to the point where I can't imagine myself not doing it. So.
No, it's like even with you sitting here, like you're literally grinning from ear to ear.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like, I'm so happy that you chose to go like, look, it took 5 years to do this, and I'm gonna complete it, but my heart really is not here. Like even from you sending those emails, sometimes like I found, because like video was not the first thing I wanted to do, but like as soon as I began to write emails, and like sometimes when folks would be like, oh yeah, you're gonna get this job and it's gonna be like a 2-year thing, and in 2 years you do, I'm like, like I don't know if I want any of that. I don't know if that's actually something I truly desire in my heart. And like then you find it, but like many people, and it's a shame, decide to like stop thinking about it and they just continue with things that don't make them happy. How did you take that leap? What was the like, that's it, I'm drawing the line,
like
no more.
the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, what was the blinking light where you're like, that's it, this is what I'm doing?
Like with camera work in general, or leaving engineering and
Leaving
then
engineering.
I don't think there was a singular moment. I had 5 years to contemplate, right? Every time I was
a process,
filling out, you know, stuff for my assignment or preparing for a final exam, I had these thoughts, right? I was thinking, you know, I knew I loved photography, I knew I loved art, And I also kind of realized even then that life is long, you know, that this time isn't going to be forever, and that, you know, if we want to finish these things and just keeping that door open, that's okay. And
Yeah, those skills don't go bad.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. And if anything, my partner always reminds me of this now when I kind of get pessimistic, like, oh, I wasted those years. Why didn't I study art? Whatever. She always says that, like, maybe you wouldn't be the person you are without going through that, right? 5 years of doing something you don't really love kind of shapes
Getting
you.
some knowledge.
Yeah.
I love it.
You're like,
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and she's like, and wonder some more. You're like, wow, yeah, that's
Yeah. Shout out to Sunny.
yeah.
Speaking of knowledge, let's find out. How CanAsian are you? Oh, we got the buzzer.
Here we go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm
course,
just gonna
of
check this.
course.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's good. Yeah,
The
wonderful.
one time Gabby will get that today.
No, I'm going to win it again because, as the folks at home know, season 1 champ right here. This thing.
All right, be quiet, Gabby.
Jesus. Okay.
In the 80s, this dish from northern China was brought to Edmonton and is now a local staple. Who was first?
I think it's Gabby.
Oh, Gabby's first? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Gabby was
What-
first.
what?
Yeah. You got me shut up now. Is it ginger beer?
Wrong.
Green onion cake.
Correct!
Oh!
Yeah, of course it
Green
was.
onion
I thought it
cake.
was-
Chef
okay.
Sue To first served it at his restaurant,
Yeah.
and it became wildly popular after selling out at events like Taste of Edmonton, Folkfest, and Fringe.
Ooh.
All right, question 2.
80s though.
Yeah.
In 1954, Margaret G was the first Chinese-Canadian woman admitted to the bar in Canada who practiced law in BC. What was another amazing first for her? A. First Chinese-Canadian female pilot in the Royal Canadian Air Force Reserves. B. First female to play violin with the Vancouver Symphony. C. First Chinese-Canadian female to make the Olympics fencing team.
I think it's B.
Wrong.
I think it's A.
Correct!
Oh, she's a pilot?
Yeah, he
Wow.
took a while to read that, so I was like, exactly.
Yeah. It's hard to make that one up. Yeah.
G grew up in Vancouver's Chinatown during the Exclusion era, 1923 to 47, where there were many anti-Chinese demonstrations and the legislated exclusion of Chinese Canadians from professions, including law.
Oh wow,
That's wild.
that's
Jordan, we gotta between the two of us, we gotta take it now because we cannot.
Okay.
We cannot.
this
Okay.
is bullying.
So you're gonna wrestle.
Question 3.
Punch the thing.
This famous turntablist is a member of the hip-hop supergroup Deltron 3030. Also, if you don't think this animal is cute, you're dead inside. A. DJ Panda. B. Kitty Cash. C. Kid Koala.
DJ Panda.
Eh.
Kid koala?
Correct!
Hey! That's right.
Kid Koala, aka Eric San, has toured with Radiohead, A Tribe Called Quest, Beastie Boys, and contributed to film scores for Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Shaun of the Dead, and Looper.
Wow,
How
I
did
had
we not know this
I had
person?
no
That's so
idea.
cool.
That's okay. I learned something.
Question 4. What is the name of the gate that was removed from Edmonton's Chinatown in 2017?
Harbin Gate.
Correct!
Oh, we got no
B.
idea.
Harbin Gate. Sorry, there was a Q&A.
Good job.
The gate was removed to make way for public transit, but in December 2022, city councilors approved $6 million to rebuild a new Harbin Gate in Chinatown.
Cool.
That's right.
That's exciting.
Last question.
Oh.
Yu Cho Chow ran a photography studio in Vancouver's Chinatown from 1907 to 1949. What was his business slogan? A. Rise or shine, anything, anywhere, anytime. B. In this family, everyone is photogenic. C. Lowest prices, everyone's welcome.
No, really?
Yeah.
Rise and shine, A.
Correct!
Boom.
Ah!
Hey!
Well done.
Rise or shine, anything, anywhere, anytime. Yucho was Vancouver's first and most prolific Chinese photographer. By the 40s, he was so popular, he added the slogan, "Everybody knows Yucho Chow."
Oh,
Oh.
big head.
Gabby, would you like to announce the winner of today's game?
Well, I'm going to announce that it's not me, and that's as far as I'm going to go. You guys can take it away from here because...
Jordan.
yeah, well done.
You.
It was an educational section.
Yes, I actually learned quite a
Yeah,
bit,
I
to be
did.
honest,
Me too,
so
me
that's
too.
always
Yeah.
good. Thank you for making that team in the background.
Yeah.
Congrats, Jordan. Well
Congratulations.
done,
Thank
Jordan.
you.
I'm very happy for you, Jordan.
We super duper believe you, Gabby. Great, so now we're at the point where we want to hear more about what you're doing. What's up next for you?
Yeah, so this year is quite busy, but the thing I'm really excited and I can share is that I'm working with Chinatown Greetings, kind of come full circle to do a Chinatown zine. And I have like 10 artists in the community who I gave a disposable camera to, and they're out there making pictures and submitting some writing. And so there's going to be a zine available in the spring and like a launch event as well here in Chinatown. So
That's amazing. That's good that like you're expanding it so it's like beyond Lunar New Year. When does that come out in the spring? Can you tell us?
up in the air right now, but hopefully around May. Asian Heritage Month is the goal. Yeah.
Look out for it then. Boom.
And you want to let us know your socials so we can follow you?
Yeah, sure. So just on Instagram, my @ is Jordon Hon. So my name is Jordon Hon. It's just Jordon Hon. Find me there.
Okay,
We
we'll
see what you
we'll
did
see.
there.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Cool.
It was so
It's
great
fun.
to meet you.
Yeah, it was great to meet you guys too.
Oh my gosh.
And as always, this has been
This is CanAsian Live!
I really enjoyed hearing Jordan's story. I think he's going to be very influential in the Chinese community, and I'm looking forward for his show in May.
I feel so grateful that we have this space to really open these stories up, and I think that there's, like, especially with talking about and being vulnerable around potentially hard discussions with parents, we're all kind of in this together in terms of that journey of like trying to make our parents proud and balance out things that we really love to do. So
It was super fun. That was great.
It was good, yeah.
I felt really good that Gabby didn't win.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I love that I gave this away to our guest, but that's fine.
Oh,
what are you opening, Harvey?
Chrysanthemum, something that Jordan introduced to us. But really, I think what he has done for me is he's really inspired me to be more active in my own community. He's done a lot of cool stuff, and I feel like I haven't done enough. These are the best peanuts I've ever had in my life. Oh.